In this video, I'll give you a couple of slide overview and then we'll go into a video how-to on how you can leverage bottom watering as an effective method for watering containers and trays that helps you conserve water and water more efficiently through the season. So what is bottom watering? Essentially, it's setting a plant into a tray so that the bottom portion of the soil is in touch with the water. And as you fill that tray, the surface tension and capillary action of the soil pull the water up through, and it gradually seeps all the way up to the surface of the water. And I'll show you some videos. It's pretty neat the way the science works. And it's an efficient method of watering and can do some great things for your plants, especially if you're seed starting, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So there's several reasons to do it. It really promotes strong root growth. If you think about it, you want the roots to grow deep and plentiful, right? So this picture is an example of some squash seeds after 2.5 weeks of using bottom watering with some bottom heat. You can see they're just robust root systems that grow really strong. And the way the bottom watering works is the water goes up through the soil. As it dries out, the water remains at the bottom of the plug. So the roots drive downward to get to the water and give you a nice, healthy, deep root system. It minimizes the risk of disease and fungus, especially when you're watering seedlings. I use it for seed starting in 10-20 trays, and it really helps give the perfect amount of water without getting on the leaves and plant material and causing fungus to the seedlings. It conserves water, right? You don't get runoff from this method. You just fill up your tray, the soil soaks up as much water as it can and doesn't run off and go elsewhere. It very evenly distributes the moisture. You'll see in the video that I show you, it soaks it up and just makes it really evenly distributed. And then for smaller seeds, really fine seeds like snapdragon, foxglove, ones that will be washed away because they need light to germinate, so you put them on top of the soil. This will provide you a method not to disturb those seeds. If you don't use bottom watering, typically what happens is all the seeds get caught up in the water and flow to the low point in your tray. So you have 500 little seedlings in one spot on your trays if you don't use the method. So just some quick tips on why to bottom water. Now, how to do it, it's very simple as long as you have the right equipment or the right pot with a tray underneath. You prepare your trays. I'll show you a video on this on how we do it. Make sure you have the right container with the right holes underneath. Essentially, you add water, let the soil absorb it. It takes 10 to 30 minutes depending on the soil dryness and the type of soil you use, which is critical. You have to use a porous, air-gapped soil to make sure that the water can get up through there quickly and easily. And then typically you drain the excess water after you do the watering exercise so that the roots don't get saturated. Depending how deep your trays are, you might or might not have to do that. So let's get on to the video portion and I'll do a step-by-step walkthrough for you. So for the purposes of this video, I'll walk you through it with 10-20 trays. We'll actually fill the bottom of the tray with water, and then in this case I've got a many cell planting plug-in that I'll put in here, and I'll fill this with soil. And you can see the holes that are in the bottom and in the top. The ones in the bottom let the water come through for bottom watering, and the ones in the top, if you're using a humidity dome, will actually give you some water vapor if you're using bottom heat, which is really nice. So I'll go ahead and fill this up just for example purposes. I want to give you the ability to take a peek without soil and see what's happening underneath. So I'll go ahead and use this watering can. This is a Hawes can that actually has a tip that lets you do bottom watering really easily. And you can see I can fill up the tray to the point where the water is just going to be touching the bottom of that soil plug that'll allow that capillary action to take over. And this is a time lapse. You can see the dry soil slowly turns darker and it gets watered just perfectly to the point where you've got nice saturation, and any seeds will love that drink of water that they get as it comes up through the soil and keeps it nice and moist. To bottom water, once you plant your seeds, it's really simple. You can lift up a corner. Some people leave a cell empty and just fill it up to the point where it touches the soil. Depending how deep your tray is and your plugs, you'll have to play around with that. Typically, I use a wooden stake marker in there that'll show me when the water's kind of wicking up. And then for certain varieties, first thing in the morning, sometimes I'll do a quick mist of the seedlings just to keep them moist throughout the day. And you can see after a couple of weeks, I get some nice blooms. These are actually foxglove and snapdragons, which are those fine seeds that I talked about. And you can see in this case, the edges are starting to dry out, which is typical. And that's a good sign that you have to put a little more water into the tray, because those will be the first ones that dry out because the trays kind of sag a little bit in the middle. Just for illustration purposes, these are squash roots. After about 2.5 weeks, you can see they really grew. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please like our video and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. And if you need more info, you can go to thecelticfarm.com or our shop.thecelticfarm.com. Thank you.